And we are back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. We are Frankly Football. I'm your humble host. Got my man, Honey Grant. Set it off, Chris, with me. How you feeling today, Chris?
Um, it's another day on the side of the dirt. Um, and I had a nice reality check last night.
Mm-hmm.
My child enjoyed watching me absolutely lose it. And it took me back to a deep, dark place that I hadn't been in quite some time. But outside of that, man, I'm ready to talk about this last throttling, this utter debacle that we witnessed last night watching the Dallas Cowboys go to Santa Clara and get the doors blown off their ass, 42-10. Brandon, the NFL, Vegas has built a huge city with lots of lights and buildings and hotels and buffets and shows. After the fact of the matter, they know pro football games are usually between 7 and at best, right, 14 points. But when a team loses by 32 points,
32
that's
of them things, Chris.
Utter dismantling of a team.
Yeah.
So what we're here to do during this live feed, man, is give people an opportunity to come in. They've had a whole, almost a full 22 hours to digest this thing. Yeah. And we just want to build, we want to build like in school, in English class, when you went to school, when I went to school, you used to build certain topics. You needed a who, what, when, where, how.
And sometimes why.
Yeah, why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do that today, man. We're going to say who, what, when, where, how, and why did this go awry the way it did. And see if we can get some clarity on this thing, man. So my question to you, bro, is who do you blame first?
Well, the guy that you got to blame is first and foremost the personnel, the guys who are on the field. And the leader is the guy who is calling the plays. That guy.
Well, he didn't call the plays. He got the plays from the sideline, but you're gonna blame him.
I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna put that down. Yeah. So
okay.
Dak Prescott has to take the lion's share of the blame for this loss. Let me explain why.
Okay.
The Cowboys for 5 games now have depended on the success of the defense. What that means is that when the defense doesn't dominate, when the defense doesn't, walk into somebody's front yard and choke them out, they need to have some sort of faith in the offense to stand on their own too. For 2 games now, we've seen that that's not the case.
Okay. So you're saying that when so this team has to be carried by the defense, right?
That's what we've seen.
That's what we've seen. Okay,
I'm not saying that that's what we've seen.
Okay. So in the defense is dominant, the offense can kind of play off of that, right?
Yeah. They're the followers. The defense, you got a group of friends, Chris, and one of the friends can be the one who makes the decision.
Okay.
The offense is the followers. The defense is the one who dictates the flow of the game. So the offense that has proven that they can't dictate the flow of the game.
Okay. So we're gonna put that. So basically, you're saying it's the coaches, or
no, not the coaches. I did not say the coaches.
Okay.
It is the man that receives the ball from the center, the quarterback, the man who has the position title, who makes an average of $40 million a year.
Get out that man's pocket now. Get out his pocket. Get out there.
But I need there to be no confusion who it is.
Okay.
His name is Rain Dakota Prescott. We use their full name on this show, Chris.
Yeah, we do. Well, okay, so that's who you putting the lion's share on.
The lion's share, approximately 70% of the blame.
70%. I've been sitting around all day thinking about it. It's pissed my whole soul off. But this thing is equally divided out in 33 1/3 across the board. I'm giving 33% to Rain Dakota Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving another 33% to Mike McCarthy.
Why only 33%?
And I'm giving that because there's that 1%, right?
Mm-hmm.
That 1% of inkling of hope that I have to have. I can't, I can break that down as well.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is Dan Quinn's defense did not show up. Dan Quinn's defense got not 42 points put on them. In two games that they've lost this year, mm-hmm. they haven't held contained.
Yep.
They haven't been able to get people off the field.
Yep.
And they've been undisciplined to keep drives going. Mm-hmm. So I can't sit up here and say, hey, Rain, and he did look bad, don't get me wrong, because we'll break down the stats later. I'm blaming everybody. Mm-hmm. Rain played terrible.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy was god awful in his play calling. Mm-hmm. And Dan Quinn's defense had no clue for the most systemized quarterback in all of NFL. But
I'm not even gonna disrespect Brock Purdy by saying he's the most systemized quarterback in all of the NFL. Let me explain why.
Yeah,
let me explain why. This is the second time doing it. We purpose built this team to beat San Francisco because the expectation was, okay, we being the Dallas Cowboys, we're gonna get back to the postseason, or rather, I should say, the playoffs. We're gonna see San Fran. We're gonna have to see them again, beat them again, maybe in their building. We saw that we ain't ready for them. The same guy under center managed to do it again. This time in more horrific fashion. It just so happened to be the month of October, so it looked like Nightmare on Elm Street. So you got to put a little bit of respect on his name now. You can't say that he's a system guy because now he looked like he got a little bit of hair on his chin.
Listen, because I do have hair on my chin, and I got a little gray in it.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
So I got a little bit of wisdom in it. I'm just to the point right now, man. I have no respect for Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. I feel like I do respect the fact of the matter that I can't whip them. Mm-hmm. That's the one.
This is not a rivalry, people.
No, this is not a rivalry.
This is not a rivalry. They are treating us like little bro right now.
They ain't even treating us like little bro. They treating us like step cousins. Treating us like play cousins and beating our ass. So they know, they ain't gonna get in no trouble because that ain't their mama real sister. That's just her girlfriend, and that's how they handling us. I put it all the way across the board. 3 times we played them, bro. Mm-hmm. I could see if it was the first and second time. This is the 3rd time we faced them, and it's the 3rd time they have out physicaled us.
Yeah,
and made Fred Warner, Greenlaw, and some bogus dude who couldn't play nowhere else at cornerback look like they all pros.
Yeah,
and
even though Fred Warner is an all pro, let's put some respect on his name. Even though Fred Warner is an all pro,
Fred is a great player.
Yeah,
Fred was out there. He could have been food if you turn around and you get the ball to the right places, but Rain didn't, dude. The first drive, you got Schoonmaker, who isn't a proven pass catcher. He's just a 2nd round pick, wide open. Mm-hmm. You hit him, that's 40, 50 yards down the field, changes the whole complexion of the game. You 3 and out, you put the defense back on the field. Okay? On the pass up the left sideline to Brandon Cooks, absolutely wide open. You got Chris Collinsworth talking about how great Fred Warner was. Fred Warner was food. You got to make that completion. You got to make that hookup. Brandon Cooks walks into the end zone. Fred Warner's just what it would have been was like, what a great play design to get Brandon Cooks on a linebacker and just expose him. You got to make that throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, Chris, there were multiple moments during the game where Dak chose not to target his number 1 guy. I showed you. I showed you 3 plays during that game where Dak chose not to target a wide open CD Lamb, 2 of which resulted in an interception.
That goes back to the what. We're not telling about the who. We just putting the blame. We just giving the blame across the board. Yeah. Then you turn around. You put that in. You got to put the blame on Quinn because he never adjusted. Mm-hmm. What their game plan was.
Let's not be apologists though. let's not be apologists, because I find that a lot of the times people shift the blame from the guy who has the ball consistently every single down. The quarterback is the person who has the ball the most in your offense, and he is shielded from a lot of the fire.
Who?
The quarterback in general. Your quarterback is shielded.
No.
So I find that there are a lot of apologists.
Nobody's apologizing. Nobody's apologizing for how he played. But I'm not putting all of it on him. I'm looking at Dan Quinn. Stevie Mack said it best. I didn't get to it. You wouldn't put your best pass rusher against arguably a guy who gets the false start every daggone play in every game he plays in, and you gonna put him over there. What they did, they never took they never took Bosa and put him on against Zach Martin. They put him on Terrence Steele. They put him on the lesser of the two tackles and let him go to work. I'm sorry, that was piss poor planning. I'm gonna put Micah on. I'm gonna find the scrub. If I'm gonna find the scrub in the secondary, find the scrub ass lineman, or make it to the point where it works to him, or not do so many stunts against a team that's already in movement in that. My problem in this entire game is that Brock Purdy threw 24 times. He threw the ball 24 times, 17 completions. Come on. And I'm talking about these guys were wide. They was butt naked wide open. They were running on air.
Yeah.
No, man. No, I'm putting as much blame on Quinn as I'm putting on McCarthy. And I'm putting as much blame on McCarthy as I'm putting on Rain. Them three guys, they got to come to the front of the congregation. They got to get baptized. They need to get oil poured on them because they dead wrong for what they did Sunday night.
So you talked about Quinn. Tell me about McCarthy.
McCarthy's game plan. The passes were no more than the 3 plays that you sent me. The 2 plays that ended up in interceptions, right? You said it was 2 interceptions and an incompletion, right?
Yeah.
That you're referring to about CeeDee Lamb being open.
Yeah.
All 3 passes. Well, the 3 interceptions. One was batted up, was within 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. The other one was a punt, basically, in the double coverage, right? And then it was the other one. I mean, both of them were like thrown in the tight coverage, but none of it was 8, 9, 10 yards down the field. The only pass he threw of any distance or any distance was to Turpin for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And the one he overshot.
Cooks.
Yeah, and the Brandon Cooks.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that there is a lack of the deep ball this year? Well, when there's a need, because a lot of times for 3 games we haven't had a need. So when there's a need, why do you think that we don't have the deep ball during those 2 games where we have been behind? Gotcha. So while you work on getting your audio situated, because I can't hear you either. I'll explain. We're professionals. I think that due to the new offense with Mike McCarthy calling it, they may be trying to keep Dak within a box. I'm not sure if Mike McCarthy fully trusts Dak in his current scheme, the Tex Coast offense, as he so eloquently calls it. And that could be a situation that has to be looked at carefully. We talked about Kellen Moore a lot in last offseason, how it led to a lot of route concepts that were overly complicated. And the receivers, as a result, didn't really get the routes. Give me a test.
Yeah, I'm good, brother. Yeah, somebody called me, but it was
That's
calling
okay.
me, trying to disrupt the flow. But
there we go.
Back to what you're saying.
My question was, in the 2 games where we were seriously behind, why do you think that we don't see a lot of deep downfield balls?
This organization is so concerned about him throwing interceptions. They bought into the narrative of he's a turnover machine, when in his career he's never been that. Yeah, when he does throw interceptions, he had the whole media thing spin is, he's the only quarterback that throws interceptions. So with doing
they dive on him, right?
Oh man, listen, they anytime he throws one, you know, when he do it, it's a problem. When they do it, it's okay. So my whole point is they said, let's protect him by not putting him in the mindset of being able to throw in certain areas. So
but is that to his detriment?
It's definitely it's the detriment to the entire offense because it doesn't force teams to have to cover a certain kind of way. If you looked in that game, you had the one pass up the sideline. I think the Gallup was Chardavius Ward made a great play on. He airmailed the one to Schoonmaker. He threw the long touchdown to Turpin. He threw one out of bounds to Cooks, which I'm still not. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. A guy's got 4 steps on the guy. You put that where he can catch it and go to work and finish. He had nothing he threw all night was like easy, in rhythm, sharp, precise, and on point. Everything looked like it was under duress. And so for me, I've seen him do that consistently against better football teams, especially against this team. He has yet to have
not better football teams no more, Chris.
Dude, no,
you can't say against better football teams no more, Chris.
Dude, he have not against better football teams. He has not done it. He listen. He was okay. He was okay against the Giants. He was adequate against the Jets. And he was good enough against the Patriots. He was good enough against the Patriots. When he played Arizona, they had opportunities to win the game, but of course, the defense made
that game was moderately within control.
It was definitely with control, but you can't have stupid, dumb penalties from your defense that extends drives all game. You got to be able to play contained, which you didn't, and you got to go ahead and get the ball in people's hands, and it's an issue. But there's a disconnect with him right now in this offense and how it's moving with his different pieces. So you got to go to what was the plan of Mike McCarthy in this game, and it couldn't be throwing no passes past 7 yards. Because that's what they did consistently.
Okay, cool. So what do you think the plan was then?
Man, if I knew that, man, me and you be somewhere in a damn coaching locker. I have no clue what that plan was because get the ball. They didn't run the ball well.
Yeah,
they didn't run the ball at all.
But before you go on to the next one, it's obvious to see that against a front like this, Tony Pollard cannot be an every down running back. He doesn't do well, but between the tackles, in your red zone success kind of is exemplified by that. So they don't really have that bruiser guy.
Well, I think you got guys.
What do you do?
You got guys who can run between the tackles. You just don't have.
You got other guys, but your main guy.
Well, but the thing about it, you had to know that going into this thing when you paid him $10 million. So what's going to happen is it goes back to he's never been an every down back. He's always been a touches guy. So we've always said
12 to 15,
15 to 18 touches a game is perfect for him. But you got to find your spots. But you knew the money you paid Zeke, you didn't want to pay that anymore because he wasn't that guy. Rico can't stay healthy, and you're not scheming things open to use Turpin or Deuce Vaughn to the best of their abilities. That's what's happening right now. So you're expecting Schoonmaker and Ferguson to kind of exploit some areas. You're not stretching the field with Cooks. And there has been no kind of game plan to make CD, outside of the first couple of games of getting the ball. There wasn't one tunnel screen ran all day. When a team is that aggressive and they want to run like that, you want to run tunnel screens. They didn't want to run one tunnel screen all game at all.
It can get very perplexing, man. And I see Mac the Giants fan in the chat box, man. Shout out to Mac, man. You came to us in a dismal state, brother. We battered and bruised. Battered and bruised. That's probably why you're here, to talk a little trash to us. But here's the thing. One thing that we have to notice is that the route concepts, not even the route concepts, the entire offensive scheme got a little stale as the game went on. that's why guys like Fred Warner, were able to follow, especially on that bobbled interception. We're able to be right at the right place at the right time. We're able to, be Dak's kryptonite. I think that in a lot of situations, which may have caused CeeDee Lamb's irritation, Dak wanted to beat Goliath. He wanted to be David that beat Goliath. And that may be why he challenged Fred Warner so many times. Maybe to, his own detriment. Chris, I was just talking about why Dak may have challenged Fred Warner so many times. Which led to one of those interceptions, him throwing right at him. I think that he wanted to be David that beat Goliath in a few situations. He knows that, in a few situations, Fred Warner has his number. Fred is, amazing linebacker, top tier linebacker. Faster than most guys at his position. I was listening to a radio show today, and they were talking about how Fred Warner has so much speed to quote unquote keep up with Brandon Cooks. But
he didn't stop that.
He did not keep up with Brandon Cooks.
Man, yes,
Cooks had 7 yards on him.
He had four.
I watched that play. Cooks had exactly 7 yards on Fred Warner.
All Fred was trying to do was stay in the screen.
A linebacker to be lined up on.
I mean,
he has speed for a guy at his position.
He's got great sideline to sideline. But going back to what you said, that's a play designed up by Mike that Rain has got to make happen.
Yes.
You gotta play, hey, let me get the mismatch, and wherever the mismatch is, I'm throwing the football.
Yeah.
He didn't throw to the mismatch all night. And going back to, what I've seen with CD this year, they're not getting him the ball advantageously
nearly enough.
He can go to work. Well, he
enough.
can work. He had one pass on one drive that made it like a 3rd and 2, and then they couldn't finish the drive. And so you got to make it to the point it's advantageous for your number one to get the football. He's clearly frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's seeing that. And then this thing about, Fred Warner, listen, if you drop that ball in there or give a chance for Cooks to catch it, it's a 40-50 yard completion or a touchdown. And so Mike drew it up. My problem is that it was nothing building on top of this to build on top of that. Every time they tried to get something going, they had a mistake. It was either a sack or a fumble or an overthrown ball or an incompletion. And it never gave the defense a chance to get their bearings, who came into this game highly touted, but got punched in the mouth over and over and over. Man, when you go in the first quarter, man, it's 7-0. You're like, okay, we kind of survived. Maybe we can get our bearings. But man, when you turn around, your offense gives you 9 first downs, 9 in a whole game. Man, the play caller is terrible. Listen, if Kellen was here and he got us 9 first downs, we would be ready to kill Kellen. So if we were gonna give that kind of smoke to him, you goddamn right we're gonna give it to Mike McCarthy.
Absolutely. Nobody is above reproach.
Yeah.
No one is above reproach.
Yeah. So that's my whole thing about that. This was from top to bottom an absolute it had too much importance, even though it was a regular season game, but it was who you played. And the last time you played them. And you haven't scored you've only scored 17 points against this team in 3 chances you played against them. The average in the NFL is 24 points. And every time they played you, they've opened that thing up more and more. But last night, listen, man, you made a guy, man. You put that dude right in the Pro Bowl last night. You put him straight in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
If this was college football, he would have won the Heisman last night.
So now that leads us to this. Where do we go from here? Like what happens moving forward?
This is what I would have. This is what I want to have happen. I want them to shut up with all this tough guy talk. Quit. Michael don't get to do no podcast. Everybody shut their mouth. See what I'm saying? Shut your mouth. Don't say nothing. Okay? You just got bludgeoned. You just got the brakes beat off of you. You just got whipped like a man caught you in the house with his old lady doing something you ain't got no business doing.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a family show. You know what I'm saying? So and you got to go back and say, okay, who are we on offense? What are we? Are we a pass team? Are we a run team? Are we going to stretch the field? Are we going to cause chaos in different areas? Who are we in that area? Okay, that's what you got to figure out. Defensively, you got some holes to fill. You got to find out what's going on with Deron Bland. You got to find out what's going on with him. You know, you may have to go out here and go trade something away to go get a guy to salvage your season if he can come back in 4 to 6 weeks. Because I don't think you have a corner on your bench right now that you trust on the opposite side of Stephon Gilmore. And you really don't have the unless Israel is coming back, you're going to shift somebody over there. But I don't think you got a guy you trust over there. You know, I don't think you do. I need my safeties to give me better play, and I'm hurting at safety right now. I'm hurting at safety. I lost Dono. I got to switch what I do in that situation, and my linebackers have got to play better. You know, and I've got 3 guys that I trust. I got 3 guys that I have, but I gotta get better linebacker play. You said it early in the year. We were thin at linebacker. Yeah, you said it. 100%. You know, you get to get a victory lap on that. We got to put people. Yeah, you can go wave at the crowd, let them know that you're the guy, but you got to find, and you've got to get smarter with the way you're playing Micah Parsons. Yeah, to line Micah Parsons up on Trent Williams, it was just asinine. It didn't make any kind of sense. So we
do not miss Kellen Moore. I'll go ahead and we do not miss Kellen Moore. I see that comment. We do not miss Kellen Moore at all. I'll put this up here.
I don't. Here's what I miss. I don't miss Kellen, but I do miss pushing the ball downfield, and we haven't done that this year. We have, there are versions of the West Coast offense of getting the ball out of your hands quickly. Yep. Everything we're doing is 7 yards. You got to break a tackle. There's nothing pushing the ball downfield or getting the wide receiver in position where they can go make a play on the ball. And I mean, I have respect for Chardavius Ward because he's been in 2 different situations where he's been a top flight corner, Salute to him. Shout out to him. We had him. We gave him away for a guard that we no longer have on the team, because he probably been a guy who could have been played for us. But right now, you do not. The one thing you want to do is force chaos in the secondary. There was no chaos. You had guys who you can't even remember their last names covering your top wide receiver, and people talking about he covered him up. No, you never forced him to have to cover him if you're running 7-yard routes.
Crazy. How do you feel about Mr. Huxtable locking up CD Lamb, Chris? Because I don't know his name, so I'm gonna call him Mr. Huxtable.
Hey, man, I don't know what Heathcliff was doing his thing. He got caught out in a bad situation with Turpin, and they burnt it. But the rest of the night, listen, when a wide receiver, a wide receiver is like a shooting guard. They got to feel the ball.
Okay, mix this up.
I'm gonna mix it. So you got to have an opportunity to touch the ball, make plays with the ball, and see the ball in basketball terms. See it go through the hoop. Okay, man. In that first drive, man, it should have been going to CD to get him warmed up and get him going. CD's like better once he gets contact, and that's not what we had yesterday. And it seems like we went away from him. Like I said, in the 3 plays that you sent me, he was wide open on all 3. Now he may have gotten tackled immediately when you got the ball to him.
He can take the contact. He's not a small guy.
Yeah, but it would have been to the point. It would have been better throwing the double coverage to Gallup. It'd been better than punting it up the sideline to a double covered guy, and it'd been better than throwing it somebody where they can get their hand on it. The tight window stuff was crazy. get the ball to people in wide open spaces, because that's what, Purdy was doing. He was getting people open. What, dude? Both touchdowns that he threw, man, it was like on one of them, Donovan Wilson didn't even know the touchdown had been scored. He never saw the ball. Dude, that can't happen. You can't let George Kittle just run free through the. Nobody rerouted him. Nobody touched him. Nobody knocked him off balance. Nothing. They act like they didn't even know. They didn't even know he was eligible. Come on, man. You can't do that, man. And that's the problem I have with the defense. The defense acted as if they didn't know they had George Kittle's, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuels. They just thought they had Christian McCaffrey. They didn't do anything like that.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought up Brandon Ayuk, and I see a comment here that Dak doesn't trust the wide receivers. A lot of other teams with their number one wide receivers, they fed them targets. For example, Brandon Ayuk, that's Brock Purdy's guy. Prior to this game, all of his receptions were either first down or a touchdown. They fed him every single game.
Okay.
Like for example, DJ Moore, I think, had 12 targets when he was faced against the Commanders. AJ Brown, I think, had while I'm looking it up, had if I'm going off of the top of my head, I think like 9. But Brandon Ayuk had 7 during this game.
Okay.
CD Lamb had 5
total.
Yeah, 5 total.
Right.
And AJ Brown had 8.
Right. So your leading receiver on your football team right now is Jake Ferguson. That's your leading receiver.
Do you think that Dak Prescott trusts this receiving core?
I mean, why wouldn't he? Wait a minute. I'm gonna say this, and we've talked about this before.
And I'm asking this because of the comment in the chat box.
Trusting them and the system highlighting them is two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
The system is around it. We complained about the system not causing chaos and giving the receivers the ability to run routes.
Yeah.
Now we're sitting here right now. McCarthy's system is sitting here making everything short, quick passes to the point. It might not be you don't trust receivers, you don't trust the quarterback, and that's what I'm not understanding. How are you not trusting a guy who's 7-8 years inside of the organization, who's proven to be a competent thrower of the football, that you don't run concepts that gets him to get open space? What Purdy got yesterday was concepts, that scheme to get people open. Everybody's like, oh, he's so smart. He looks over here. He's boom, boom. No, he just looks for an open guy. That guy cover, that guy cover. I'm gonna go 15 yards down that way. They at least give him 2 options of he's got a high and a low read. If the low read is covered, they go into the high read. If you run somebody out the situation, there's somebody on the opposite side. It's not like he's making pinpoint, accurate, tight window throws. These guys are running Scott butt naked free out here, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to sit up here and absolve Dak of his bad throws, but I'm also looking at the scheme as it is not conducive. And we've watched this for the first 5 weeks. Nothing is pushed down the field. Hate to say it, at least Joystick pushed it down the field. Now he run 4 verticals, which wasn't too creative, but there's no different
4 curls.
Or 4 curls, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I didn't see too much more than that in this game when he throwing the ball 7 yards.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Fair. And on top of that, become a weapon yourself. I understand he's been injured.
Lead into that.
Right. I understand he's not as fast as he was before, but you got to make these linebackers to think twice about if they see him coming towards the line of scrimmage to get away and run from him. There was one play that you turned around and said, hey, you sent me, CD Lamb is wide in the middle of the field. What's 2 defenders bearing down on him, right? Throw the ball or move far enough back so you can get enough room to make the throw. He didn't do that. So when the defense showed some life and coming back with a couple of pass deflections on Purdy, they never did enough offensively to try to flip the field. Even when they did stop San Francisco, they still pinned them down deep in their own end of the field.
Yeah.
When they turned around and got a turnover, it was still deep inside their own end of the field. It was never to the point that they threatened them.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost to the point they didn't even get over, outside the one touchdown in the first half. I didn't think they were going to get past the 50-yard line.
So you mentioned Dak's. You insinuated talk about Dak's legs. I don't believe that since the injury that's really a factor that he can in his game anymore. Even escaping sacks, I'm not sure that that's something that he can really do too often anymore.
I don't think it's that he can't do it anymore. I think he don't want to do it no more. I think that's to the point now. And I've never had, any lower extremity that broke. When I did play basketball many moons ago competitively. I've sprained it so many times and I thought it was broke. He watched his leg moving in a wholly different direction.
I never had a compound fracture. I've never had a break that bad.
Nothing that bad. But
let me talk about it. Let me talk about it because I got a bit of experience in this.
Go ahead, give it to me, champ.
I've never had a compound fracture. Never had where the bone comes through the skin. But I've broken 11 bones. And I need some milk. So hold on. I can bend my finger to this day backwards like this. My finger went about 90 degrees that way. Yeah. So, broken bones do not feel very good. Right. So I can understand his hesitation to not want to put himself in that predicament again. Right.
I mean, but B, I understand that. But you signed up for that. You play the most violent. You play the most violent, speed, instantaneous, grown men trying to run into you to hurt you and
you are paid handsomely to do it.
You are paid a king's ransom to do that. This guy right here in this game, if any other game he had to get over the hump, it had to be this. But my problem is you walk around with the I'm pissed off, F around and find out shirts, and you come out and play like that. Like that. So all it does is pushes us to the point of saying, if the defense doesn't carry us, if the defense doesn't get pick sixes, if the defense doesn't play to their top level, we've seen repeatedly that rain can't take you over the top. And I've been a huge proponent of saying that he's that guy. Okay? I'm officially saying right now here with me and you, he's not that guy.
Thank you, Chris. I've been on this since July. See, Chris, I like when you get on my side. Chris. We made a video about this in July, Chris. I've been on this since last draft. I've really been on this since last draft, but I decided that we weren't gonna make a video about it till July.
Okay. I mean,
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's not a plan.
It's not a plan.
It's not a plan. I just have more evidence that proves your case stronger than mine. That's all you got right now.
I appreciate that, Chris.
So right now, how do you're asking how do we get back on track, or where do we go from here?
How do we get back on track?
And listen, dude, all you can do, man, is assess where you're at.
Yep.
You got a game this week.
Got a game this week. Yep.
You got a game this week.
All right, let me get my notes. Got a game this week. Okay, game this week.
All right. Okay. Dude, how do you get back on track?
Okay. Question mark.
Yeah. You tell me, because I'm still reeling. I mean, I'm still reeling for this. I'm still punch drunk. I'm still punch drunk after this whipping I just made. So as soon as we get done with this, I'm going to the gym to contemplate my life on the treadmill to try to figure out how we get back on track. So help me with this one, brother, because I ain't got no answers right now.
Okay, so it's the beginning of October right now. Okay, so we got basically all of October.
You got 4 games.
Yep.
You got 4. You got 4. No, you got.
We got 4 months. We got 4 months.
What you?
We got 4 months.
No.
We got 4 months,
no,
Chris.
We are not about to do
months.
that. No.
We got
First
4
off,
months.
no.
October,
You asked
November,
how do we get back?
December,
Stop.
January.
Hey,
we got 4 months of evaluation left.
Chat.
We got 4 months of evaluation left.
No.
Evaluation, Chris. Not until things are ended.
No.
We got 4 months to evaluate, Chris.
No,
we got
you don't.
4 months to evaluate.
No, you don't. You got 8 years. You got 8 years of evaluation. No, you don't. But we're not gonna make this in the draft show because we're not eliminated.
No.
So,
I'm not there yet.
I don't
I'm
need
not there
to
yet.
evaluate.
Let me cook, Chris. Let me cook.
Okay.
I got a spatula right here. I'm gonna set it down. I ain't cooking right yet. So
okay.
We got 4 months left.
Mm-hmm.
After that, Dak Prescott has 1 year left on his deal. That 1 year left on his deal, I don't care about. All that means is that the Cowboys can then draft a quarterback and have him sit. Have that young man sit behind Dak Prescott for you.
You see how he do this, chat. This dude is already trying to go to the draft show, and it is the 5th. It's the
most wonderful
week of the
time
season.
of year.
No, we're not talking about the draft. All you can say is to
okay,
get back on track right now is you have got to play this week.
Yeah.
Against we play the Chargers this week, right?
Chargers. Yeah.
So
it's technically a revenge game for Kellen Moore. We'll see how it goes.
Your goal is not to let Kellen drop 40 on you.
Goal.
That's what you're gonna.
No burgers in concession. Got you. No burgers in concession.
No burgers by old boy. You can't get no burgers dropped on you.
I wrote that in my notes. Okay, got
so
you.
let's look at one side. The one side you gotta look at, you just gotta come back, understand who you are, get an identity, like I said, and then this defense has everything in the world to try to patchwork some different things they got going on, especially in your secondary, especially in your linebacker core.
Of course,
that's what you gotta do patchwork on.
Back to reality,
but because you trying to talk about the draft.
Well, not fully, Chris. I ain't even dropped no names, even though Michael Penix might be there. I ain't even dropped no names.
Stop it already.
I ain't even dropped no names, Chris. I ain't even dropped no names, even though the Washington quarterback is good.
I'm not doing
even though JJ McCarthy could be there in 20 something. I ain't even dropped no names, Chris. I ain't even dropped no names, even though y'all should go watch some Michigan film. I ain't dropped no names yet, Chris.
Jesus be offense.
But here's the thing. Truly, it's week 5. And where you go from here is that the Dak thing is over with. You don't move forward from that. Where you move forward is with your coaches. You get your coaches to adjust their scheme to be more creative, to use their players in the best way possible. Because you saw how a coach can adjust their scheme from week to week to the guys that just beat you. You saw coaches that can adjust their scheme from week to week because you thought that you had a great defense and they made you look subpar.
Okay.
So you are running the West Coast offense. the guy who just beat you, his dad is one of the progenitors of it.
Okay. I like that word.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, progenitor. I pronunciation of it is a little crazy, but TI word of the day, progenitor. So you take some notes. McCarthy said that he is not a burn film guy. Great. Keep that film in the archives. Go back to it regularly. Regularly. Play it in your sleep. Do sleep therapy with it.
I mean, but my thing is, you're not that far removed from the last time somebody whooped you like that. So I don't want that. Oh, I don't burn the film, guy. You played the same way against Arizona, got your ass whipped. So okay, my whole point is, you got to sit here and say, okay, we say we know what he isn't. So how do we accentuate what he is? And right now, the one thing, he does throw a great deep ball, but now you got to worry about if his fingers okay. Well, yeah. I mean, does it? Can he still throw the football? But you've got to make it to the point that you're pushing you're pressing the field. And more importantly, man, the first thing you got to get going. You got to get your number one wide receiver inside the system, whatever you're running, and then that's not
even exclusively a West Coast offense thing. That's not even exclusively. Yeah, that's a get your guy the ball thing.
Yeah. So, that's what you got to go to, man. You got to go to that and start doing some things like that nature.
And next on to Dan Quinn, you gotta be able to realize that you don't always put good on good. You don't always put good on good.
I mean, you do it occasionally, but the goal is
keyword always.
Yeah,
but you put good on good.
You want to use him. You want to use Micah what he was initially. What you use him as a rookie, as a piece that you move strategically around the board. I think you have enough players that you can line up a Sam Williams on one side, give Trent Williams a fight because that's what he wanted to do anyway, and then go in that direction. And then after you done go in a couple of rounds with Sam Williams with his strong, crazy tail, then you bring Mike in to do what he does. But you put Mike in position to do certain things. I'm going to put my guy on this guy to make him seem like, he's just that much better. Nah, man. Trent is all world. Trent is the best left tackle in football.
That's so like throwing out the little joker when the opposite team threw out their big joker.
Come on, man. You button heads.
Wasting the book.
You lost wasted that book. You shot a shot you didn't need to shoot. Yeah. So that's just what they do. So man, they got to take this ass whooping.
Yeah.
Personally. That's what they got to do. They got to take it personally. They got to go inside the lab, man, and get things back on track. But the next 3 games they got some teams that can add to this total.
Yeah.
And so right now,
do some soul searching, man.
Yeah. Nah, they ain't got no soul because they took their soul. They took their soul and they made them look at it. Yeah. But you got these next 3 games. You got to come out of this next 3 games, no worse than 2-1. Because if you go 1-2 and be 2-2 at this stretch, now you're 4-4 at the 9-week mark, and now you're trying to figure out how to get into the wild card. And I'm just being totally honest. Of the teams that if the season ended right now, the number 4 team is Tampa Bay, who you probably end up playing if you were trying to get into the playoff. Yeah, yeah. So I'm not.
Baker Mayfield really stepped it up, Chris. Let's take a second to talk about that. Baker Mayfield with a decent O-line really stepped it up.
Listen, Baker Mayfield has always been a guy that can make some plays, make some throws, and he's in a situation where he doesn't have to be the savior. He can just be the distributor of certain things. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's able to do down in Tampa. But I'm looking right now, I'm trying to hold out all hope to make it to the point that I can hope that Philly, who hasn't lost a game but hasn't looked great, as they continue to chug down the tracks, somebody clip them. But they ain't had nobody clip them yet. And I already lost 2 games. So I'm already 2 games behind them.
Yep.
And I'm
trying 2.5 really, I think.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, 2. Yeah. Well, no matter. Listen, they ain't got no L's. So
we got 2 conference.
Right. So we got to turn around and deal with that. Yeah. So 2 in conference and 2 L's. So man, it's nothing more than you just got to get back up and try to go down here to Los Angeles. You got to go home and go and beat the Chargers. Yeah. And you got to find out who you are and take this loss personal, man. Because that's what this thing is. This thing is personal. And then after this game, you really need to be looking on the trade wire of who you can get rid of to bring somebody in to help this defense. Because secondary wise, you're thin right now.
Would you use draft capital to try and bring a guy in for this year when you don't think that you can really compete this year?
No, you can still compete. The goal is to play.
Can you?
Oh yeah.
Be real with me, Chris. Can you compete this year?
Yes, you can. You can't compete. You can't compete for the Super Bowl, but you can compete to get to the playoffs.
So if you can't compete for the Super Bowl, what you competing for?
You're competing to get into the playoffs and let it fall where it falls. That's all you're competing for.
So for a worse draft position? When I want to draft a quarterback?
Listen.
So you hurt me. You choosing to hurt me personally.
You're not.
That's the violence that you choosing.
You're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. Stop that. Stop saying that. That's not going to make it come. You're like saying it's a Santa Claus and there is no Santa Claus. You saying that Santa Claus ain't going to make it this Santa Claus. You're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. You're not going to draft a quarterback any earlier than the 4th round because you have 3 other glaring needs.
This is not a jar show.
You got 3 other glaring needs before quarterback. You're going to need a left tackle. You're going to need a linebacker, if not 2, and you're going to need an every down running back. You're not going to draft a quarterback that's going to sit, because that's all he can do for this football team next year. Yeah, you'll be playing rain and you'll be hoping he has the best season of his life so you can have some trade value, but you're not going to draft a guy. All right? Unless you put me on the job of taking a baby seal, an Asian woman, and a whole bunch of Colombian bang bang to put in Caleb Williams' car, and he drops down out of the first round. Caleb ain't
the old guy though, Chris. I have shown you that there, and we will have, within the next 24 hours, access to the film.
Yeah, that's the only guy that you will sit a $40 million quarterback on the bench for. Hey, or trade him away and eat money for.
Now hold up. We got Mac. We got Mac in the chat box. They paying Daniel Jones $40 million, and they discussing looking for a guy. And speaking of which, Mac left a comment here saying that Dak never shows up in big games. I can't say nothing about it. I can't say nothing about it because the offenses fell flat on a big game this year. So hey. I can't say nothing about it, man. So hold on.
Hey man, fellas. Hey, I'm so sorry, man. I done had everybody call me. I run a small business, man.
You a popular guy.
Call me.
You are a popular guy,
and they continue trying to call me. I knew we wanted to get this in, but listen, they can't get out of Dan Jones's contract. You can't get out of Rain's contract. You can't. So you're not gonna waste a year. Okay, with money that you're going to have to pay this guy without getting a guy that you got to at least he can play and you can develop. If we think Mike McCarthy's the quarterback whisperer, who we believe he is, then he's going to have a guy who's got superior talent than Rain has to be able to develop him for a year behind him. So you'll have a year. You'll have a year with you might sign trade to a 2-year deal, put a little money in his pocket, see what he can be, and see if you can trade him away. Or if you think that guy who you got that you drafted in the 3rd or 4th round is that guy to be able to do that.
Let me ask you this, Chris. So I talked about where do they go from here, right?
Right.
Do you think they would start trading away?
No. In no shape, form, or manner. No. I don't think you start Trey at all. I think Trey.
No. Not start Trey. Start trading away, guys. Not start Trey. I don't think that Trey Lance will see the fields in a starting role this year unless injuries come into play. I said trade away, guys.
Only if this thing. No, I think you're too far down the road that you'll end up making the playoffs. See, I don't think you're that bad. I just think you just found a team that you can't beat. You just came up against your kryptonite. So I said, I still think you make the playoffs. I still believe that we make the playoffs. And there's only one guy that I'm trading away that has any value right now. And I'll tell you this on a side note, in the side chat, we can go back and forth about it. It's only one guy who I would trade right there that has the value to give me multiple picks in this draft that I'm willing to trade. That's able to be traded.
Okay, we got that on the super secret chat. I got you.
Yeah, that's a Dakota ring bat line type of conversation because we're not gonna do that right now. But some of y'all can put inside the chat who you think you would trade right now that would get you the picks you would need to revamp this football team at the trade deadline and going into the future. But it's only one guy you can do that with.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Only one. But that's if it goes totally. Hey man, all I want to talk about is that, man, listen. This one sucks. Yeah. There's no way around it. And, I know many of us had a really, really tough time at work today. I'm my own boss, and I was beating myself up in the car. So I know how it feels.
I took a nap at work today, Chris.
Oh, you didn't want to deal with your constituents. You just took a nap, huh?
Yeah, okay. I took a nap.
Okay.
About 11:30, Chris. I went to sleep for a smooth hour and a half.
Yeah. You thought you was gonna wake up in an altered reality where we won, and it wasn't. There wasn't one. It wasn't one. We play that team 10 times. We take 11 ass whoopings. That's how that goes down with them. So we turn around and, man, we appreciate you kicking with us, man. It's on kind of like on one of our off days. We usually kick it on Tuesday, but we had to come in on Monday, get it hot and ready, man, right before the Monday night game, man. So if you've been with this long for 55 minutes, man, go and hit the like button. Getting some little currency in the algorithm, man. If you've been this long, man, put your comments in. We love to correspond with you back and forth, man. Talk to us on Twitter, man. I'm at Playmaker8602 because they clipped my other one because I hit a spam one. And you can always find Brandon at his spot at Frankly Football, man, on Twitter and correspond with us. But more importantly, man, share it, man. Send it out to your friends. Send it out to your Cowboy hating buddies. Send it to your Cowboy fans who think they know the answers and help us, through this next couple of days so that we can help get to next Sunday when we watch the Cowboys go against the Los Angeles Chargers and joystick more and all the beautiful weapons they have on. And we'll probably get together and talk about that later on this week as well.
Yeah,
man. Hey, man, I'm the butler this week, man. I ain't even no superhero, man. I'm just the butler bringing milk and cookies, man. This the dude, the man that keeps this thing spinning, man. My man BH, man. And together we will always be Frankly Football. And until next time.
Peace.